Today I'm going to be walking through a setup for my book trackers. If you're like me, you probably go through a lot of books, and keeping track of what you've read or books in a series can sometimes be a little bit tricky. So I've come up with a couple of ways to do that, and I'm going to lay out my pages now. First I'll go through my supplies for you though. Pencil and an eraser, of course. A few different Tombows. I've got N75, 346, and 565 for these three colors. I will end up using another color in a minute. I have a couple of trackers from my Etsy shop. One is the stacked book tracker and one's the open book tracker, and you can use them in different ways. And then of course my favorite fountain pen. So this is a Pilot Falcon with a soft extra fine nib. It's amazing. If you're a fountain pen lover, this pen is just, I can't even, it's just so great. It's buttery smooth and the flexible nib is fantastic. And this ink, Atramentis Black Roses, is always in my Pilot Falcon just because it's a perfect black with some shading and it smells fantastic. And then of course a journal. So this one is a coffee splotch journal with my name on it, and I'm going to be using it for my collections. As always, one of the greatest things about bullet journaling is that you can lay out things however you want. I used to keep everything together in one journal, generally a Leuchtturm, but I didn't really like having my time-bound things like my dailies and monthlies mixed in with things like my book trackers and my other collections, because inevitably I would run out of pages and need to move on to my next journal, and then I would have to recreate those collections all over again. And I don't know about you, but I don't like doing things twice. So I ended up separating things out so that I have my dailies in one journal at a time, and I always keep my collections separate. And that has worked fantastically for me because then I can create them once. I always know where they are. I never have to guess which journal I put them in, and things are easy to find. So that works for me. You'll notice in this video, I'm not speeding anything up. This is the slow boat to wherever you want to go hand lettering. Was one of the things that I really had a hard time learning was that when you watch so many people do their beautiful hand lettering, they always speed it up, and I always wanted to be able to write, I thought you should write that quickly. I thought you should be able to just write at your normal speed and have it look beautiful and loopy and all of those fun things. And that is so not the case. The only way I can get my hand lettering to look pretty is to just go super slow, which sometimes stresses me out because I just like to get things done. I'm one of those people, but it's worth it in the long run. I did try and put a little bit of drop shadowing on my header this time, and it's a fail. I'm not even going to zoom in because it basically didn't even show up. So next time I need to plan that out a little bit better, but you live and learn. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. And you also probably just heard my puppy in the background. That's another reality of life. Puppies bark, and I'm not gonna re-record things 50 times so that you don't hear him. Hopefully you'll just come to love him as much as I do. So now that I have my header, I'm going to go ahead and apply my book stack sticker. I love that look of just a cute stack of books that you can keep your log on, but I don't love drawing it over and over and over again because I go through a lot of books. So I decided to make a sticker, and that way I can just reuse it anytime I need to log another stack of books. This one, I totally forgot that I was going to need colors to color the outside of the book covers, so I'm going to have to grab another Tombow in a second. I went with 452 because I thought the blue looked pretty with that deep, slightly tealish green or maybe hunter green. So I'm going to alternate 2 different blues and that green to color in my book covers. And I think they turn out pretty cute. This book stack, for me personally, I use it to track books that aren't in a series. So if I read a book that isn't part of, a crime drama series that I'm into or whatever, I'll put it on this book stack log. Now, you can use it any way you want. That's just the way I use it. So I'll be logging in some of the books that I know aren't part of a series, and then I'm sure I'll have to go back later and check my Audible history and my library history to fill in some of the blanks for the books I forgot to add. I haven't been reading a lot of books on actual paper lately, or even using my Kindle app or my old Kindle, which is still here in my house collecting dust on a shelf. I've been really into audiobooks. You can get them free from the library, which has been fantastic, and I also do have an Audible subscription. So I go through books on a really quick pace. They make things like getting the laundry put away actually bearable. Little things that you have to do around the house or errands that you have to run. Sometimes I look forward to those things now just because I know I get to listen to a couple of more chapters in a book that I'm really enjoying. So if you haven't tried audiobooks, personally, I highly recommend them. I love it. I just don't seem to make the time to sit down with an actual book very much lately. Now that I've got my book stack all set up, I'm going to start a layout for one of the series that I'm just completely obsessed with. It's the Mitch Rapp series by Vince Flynn, also known as the American Assassin series. You might have seen the movie that came out last year. They did a pretty good job. I'm going to use the cliche that the books are always better because they just are, but they did a pretty good job. But the series itself, the actual books, I think I'm on 12, although at this moment I'm struggling to remember, which is why I wanted to make something to track the different books in the series so I could know which ones I finished and which ones I need to read next. I'm one of those people that has to read something in order. It'll make me crazy if I skip. So having a log for that is really important to me.